Welcome to Empowered by AI, the podcast for women entrepreneurs ready to harness AI to take their businesses to the next level. I'm your host, Muncy Silva, founder of Innovative AI Studios. You may have left corporate life to start this entrepreneurial journey, but you don't have to go it alone. Here, you'll find a supportive community of like-minded women and an invaluable thought partner each week, as my guests and I share actionable insights you can use right away. So let's dive in together.
I am so happy to be with you. Finally, I've been watching you speak. It's just been such a pleasure to have your perspective and have you come on to the show. So welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the privilege of having this conversation with you, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
I want to kick off by letting people know a little bit about your background, because your background is incredibly unique. You have a background in philosophy, bioethics, AI ethics. Can you tell us a little bit about how your path led you towards AI?
It's a great question. I usually enjoy answering this question. Okay, so my background is in philosophy. Like, I have a first degree, second degree, Doctor of Philosophy in philosophy. And all through those years, whenever I wanted to write my dissertation, I have been focusing on bioethics, because ethics is one area of strength I identified over the years, like I have a natural affinity for. Given the fact that I was majoring in bio, after school, I also taught, I still teach, and I had the privilege of teaching ethical theories for quite a number of years. So that gave me a lot more grounding in ethics. And whenever I'm also teaching history of philosophy, I usually focus on moral philosophy in addition to other aspects of philosophy. So it's all out of passion. Having been knowledgeable about the theoretical foundation of ethics, when in 2022, when AI kind of became a thing with the launch of ChatGPT, I saw many calls trying to address the issues, and I thought, oh wow, this is nice. I've been doing works in bioethics, which is simply the application of ethics to issues in the life sciences. And here we are, ethics of AI, advancement in technology generally. So I felt that this is somewhere I could contribute some original thoughts. And so I started applying for conferences and the likes. And the acceptance was quite overwhelming. I was just being accepted, and I could barely keep up with. And I kept doing it. And the rest, they say, is history. And that's how I got into AI ethics. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine people would be hungry for the conversation. I would think. I'm so glad to hear that you were in demand. That gives me hope. But I know a lot of people do think of AI ethics as that high level academic conversation, right? Oh, how do you see it affecting everyday entrepreneurs, business owners, even creatives?
Yeah, it affects those sets of people in two ways. First, living in a world, in this present digital world, where AI is a thing, AI ethics is something everybody should have an idea of, some fundamentals in AI ethics. So whether you are using it actively or not, it would also affect you in some way, because the next person you're relating with might also be using it. So for example, a business owner or an entrepreneur may be bidding for a contract. You wouldn't know where you're submitting your application, they are using AI to filter it, and you may just be getting a rejection as soon as it lands without having the insight on how that was done. So it's important you have an idea about that. And when you are using it as well, it's also important, if you have an idea about AI ethics, that you should infuse some human oversight in the decisions that chatbots or a Gen AI tool or AI tool gives you, so that it doesn't just indiscriminately make decisions that you would otherwise not have made. So it affects us concretely in whatever area we might think of, whether we use it it's one aspect of it, but the fact that other persons other than you might be using it. So it's important one is aware and also have basic understanding, fundamentals of it, I say. And also when it comes to policy, some entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, business owners, they sometimes get to sit in rooms where policy decisions are being made regarding AI and the likes. And so being aware of it also gives you a leverage to be able to make meaningful contribution as to what should be and what shouldn't be. So it's AI ethics, the basics of it. I think it's important for everyone to know about generally, as we call it, AI literacy generally. Yeah.
And I know that as women who are working with AI, you do see the bias fairly quickly as you're working with it, particularly around gender, around race, around socioeconomic background. What do you think are those big ethical risks, specifically for women entrepreneurs, that they need to be aware of?
Great question. Studies have shown that women entrepreneurs, when they are bidding, they get to be asked different sets of questions, sometimes tougher. When they are bidding for venture capital, they tend to be asked different sets of questions, sometimes tougher, sometimes more scrutinizing than those asked of women, than those asked of men. Okay. So that already tells us that some of the biases, prejudices in the world get to be replicated in AI systems. Also, I'm aware that World Economic Forum report of 2022 says that 22% of women, just about 22% of women are in the AI field in comparison to 78% of men. Okay, so the statistics is not good, and it also goes a long way in how women are represented in decision making in places where decisions are made, where things that matter get discussed. And it continues like that, but I can say that there is some hope. At least you and I were having this conversation, and I believe it could go a long way in correcting some of these anomalies. Yeah, so it's something that it's prevalent, that it's rife, and people are speaking up, talking about it, doing works to correct such anomalies. Yeah.
And I have found along those lines that there are so many communities out there that are women created, women driven, and you can't unsee them once you find them. Are there particular communities that you find yourself gravitating towards where you are constantly in contact? Because I find it to be incredibly fulfilling to be able to talk with other women, as you just brought up, about some of these issues.
Yeah, I belong to Women in AI Africa. It's domiciled in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, and I'm the country representative for Nigeria. And so we take part in initiatives such as this, like create awareness, get people on board, do some advocacy, and just in our own little way, try to make path for other women and also try to amplify some of the works of other women. Also, Women in AI Ethics. I was honored to be named one of the 100 brilliant women by AI Ethics, who does Women in AI Ethics. And they have a monthly webinar, which is quite informative, which I try to attend every month. And that's like some community of practice in which you rub minds, you listen to others and the likes. I also try to, in my own work, I try to give women a voice, go out of my way to do that. Like philosophy is quite androcentric. If you don't go looking for women, you won't find women in what you do. Sometimes last week I was writing a proposal for a postgraduate program, and I found out that in the philosophers to be discussed in the program, there were no women philosophers, which is part of the age-long, should I say, discrimination or attempt to discountenance contributions of women to philosophy. And I ensured to infuse women philosophers in each of the philosophy courses. So I go out of my way to do that. And sometimes I have jobs for philosophers, and I go out of my way to make it as balanced and inclusive as possible. The women philosophers are not readily available in my context. I don't know, I can't say of every other context, but I usually ensure to go out of my way to look for women representatives. It's a consciousness I carry daily in everything I do, because I believe in inclusion, and I believe in fairness. Yeah.
And it's so vital, especially in AI, because AI is developing faster than the regulations are. And so, how can women take that active role that you're exemplifying right now in shaping ethical AI instead of just adapting to it?
Yeah, we need more women on board. And I usually say that for years now, we've been emphasizing STEM. That's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, right? But to what extent that has helped more women to be in the sciences is open for debate. So as against that, I talk about, excuse me, I talk about STEAM. That's with an infusion of A after the E, arts and humanities. I can be regarded as a woman in tech, but I didn't come into the field from the background of STEM. I did arts and humanities. So the point I'm trying to make is that we need to be more open-minded in how women get into these fields, and not have this traditional idea that it ought to be through science, technology, engineering, and mathematics alone. We can encourage women, we can encourage girl children to develop an interest in areas that could lead them into some of these AI fields, and also have them stay. It's one thing to have studied a particular course that could help you to partake in the digital world. It's another thing to find a mainstay there. I may have studied engineering, and after school, I think, no, I want to go into business. That's one loss. Okay. So I think that we should have more emphasis on on women being in this field, on women being trained in this field and staying, and giving them as much encouragement or incentives to stay and practice. I could remember there was a time in my own career journey that I was almost drifting away from academia. And if I had drifted away, it means I would not be in AI ethics at all. Okay, so we need mentors who have been well mentored themselves. We need initiatives. We need incentives to make women stay in the digital world, in technology world, so that they can bring their own perspective, and we can have a balanced technology use, because technology that is tilted towards one gender, it does not mirror how we live as humans, does not mirror our world as humans. It ought to be balanced.
That representation is vital. Exactly. Can you share with us some examples of AI ethics in action? So, for example, companies or individuals that are getting it right when it comes to responsible AI right now.
Yeah, I am in the academia. I know that institutions, especially, they are trying to get it right by having policies on AI. I know of at least 7 institutions in South Africa that already have their AI policies. Okay. Then my own institution, I know we already have a draft policy that is currently being improved upon before it's accepted and made public. That said, I know Microsoft something, I can't quite remember the name now, is doing some good works in mirroring what ethics in AI should be, and also especially green AI in the kind of works they do, in the kind of service they render to the world. I'm aware of that. There was a particular paper we were writing some 2 weeks ago about green AI and sustainable entrepreneurship and all. And some of those examples came up. So there are a couple of organizations like that. But when you talk about the academia, yes, I know it's a big thing. Institutions wanting to have AI policy to guide students and lecturers and other academic staff on how to make use of AI in a responsible, inclusive, safe, and ethical manner. Yeah.
Yes. And that's giving, I think, people hope because that's training a future global world, right? How do I want to say this? You're basically empowering an entire next generation to move in more responsibly because I feel right now like a lot of us are reactive because it's happening so fast. We're reacting. But if we can put our focus on our educational environment, that we can bring in an entire new adult workforce that's a little bit more aware, less reactive, more proactive.
Proactive, yes. And
Yes.
talking more about proactive, I'm also aware of institutions that are training their students on how to make use of AI ethically. Likewise, training their staff on how to make use of AI ethically and responsibly and sustainably, yes. So I think there is some hope. People are realizing that there is so much hype and marketing than about the capabilities of AI compared to what its actual capabilities are. This anthropomorphization of AI that tends to make us to attribute more capabilities or abilities than it truly possesses. Yeah, people are getting to realize that and being more proactive in trying to stem the tide, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. And as an AI ethicist, what is one common misconception around AI that you'd love to correct for women in general?
Yeah, one misconception, I would say there are two. General misconception in the idea that ethics stifles innovation. I think that's a great misconception that needs to be corrected. Ethics doesn't stifle innovation. Ethics rather makes innovation more sustainable, more enduring for the common good and not just for the immediate, also the remote future in terms of generational justice or even intergenerational justice. Ethics doesn't stifle it. Now, the other misconception that pertains to women in particular is that tech is for men and some of these stereotypes about job division, what suits you and what doesn't suit you. And no, I do not think so. And it relates to the other question you had asked me earlier. It's one misconception I would love corrected in which we have it as some kind of all commands. You're interested in this, you go for it without being judged or being assessed in with more critical lens than than your counterpart here. So it's important we bear that in mind that we actually need more women in this space that we currently have. And it's not just women that will do this, even men and other kind of people should go all out in pursuing this endeavor that we need to have you guys a lot more on board than we currently have here.
And what do you think are some immediate actions that the women that are listening today can take to use AI ethically in their business today to be that responsible solopreneur, entrepreneur?
Oh, great. I would think that first is get more literate on Gen AI, on AI. There is no end to being literate. There is a need for continuous upskilling and reskilling and even deskilling because the field, the terrain, it's quite dynamic. It's moving very fast. So having done that, I would say embrace transparency. Mirror that which you would wish to find in AI. Be upfront about it. How have you used it? Don't let it be shrouded in secrecy like the black box that we know is found in AI. Okay, so be transparent, be honest, be open about it. Also, human oversight, human agency. Endeavor that AI tools are not allowed to make decisions without human intervention. Okay, so we could use it, but I can find out what has gone into its use. Is it what I would want? I need to cross-check, double-check, fact-check to be sure that it represents that which I would want. So I would encourage a lot of human oversight, human agency. Also, we should also be wary of not relinquishing our human autonomy to AI, because it could come across as being very efficient, very effective, very swift, very fast. Yes, and one can get taken in by all of those and unknowingly think that it's the best thing after the invention of everything. No, we need to bear in mind that we can't say enough that while it can be very swift in its response, it doesn't generate new ideas. It generates content. It doesn't understand what it is generating. And as OpenAI itself says, that it could be very inaccurate. So one also needs to bear all of those in mind to ensure that we don't give it too much power than it deserves or that it's capable of handling. A human child, say a toddler, when he or she sees you turn a doorknob, that toddler the next time can most likely be able to do that because she had seen you do that. But AI needs millions of data before it could generate one prompt. We should always remember that. It's not superior to human beings. We need to realize that there is a lot of giving it human attributes. First, we say it's intelligent. Then we say it hallucinates. Then we say those are human attributes that I think get us carried away about its capabilities and competencies, which may not necessarily be there. So a lot of transparency, a lot of human oversight, we need to have that in our interaction and engagement with AI.
Have you found that there are particular places where you gravitate to learn more about AI ethics? I know you mentioned some communities. I'm interested in sharing with the listeners places that they can go to make an AI ethics concept a little bit more accessible to them.
I took courses on UNESCO site. I did. Yeah. So there are courses there, I think validated as well. I think YouTube also has courses. Then there is IIOE. I think it's a UNESCO initiative as well. International Institute of Open Education, I think. They also have tons of courses on AI. Then Commonwealth of Learning also has tons of courses on AI. So any of those sites would be able to provide one with good resources. That's aside some of the MOOC, massive open online course platforms that now have various courses on AI that one could audit here. And if anyone is looking to reading documents on AI ethics, I would recommend starting with the AI ethics regulation by UNESCO of 2021. It's quite good. It's quite detailed. It even has policy areas. Yes, I recommend it. Has principles. It has values segmented. It's quite good. That could be a good place to start. Then they also have a document on the use of AI, guidance on the use of AI in teaching and research. That's for in 2023. That is quite detailed depending on what one is looking for. Then there are also many policy documents on various things, even for children, even for health, how to use generative AI in the context of health by WHO. There are those documents in public domain that one could easily access and browse. Yeah.
Fantastic to know about the depth of resources that are available to people today. Do you feel, as we talk about this intellectual curiosity, that it really has become a requirement, I think, for us to maintain that curiosity in order for us to be using AI responsibly? Do you feel that there is maybe a question or two that more people should be asking about AI ethics, but you just don't see them asking it?
Yeah, yeah. It's a very insightful question. I like it. People should be asking, what is the environmental cost of AI? I think it's less discussed. AI has huge environmental impact. As a world, as humans in the world, we've been battling with climate change. Okay. And we have this deluge in the use of AI, whose impact is not light on the environment, the energy consumption, the water consumption, cooling of data center, and the likes. We're not asking that question enough, and we're not curious about it. We all kind of seem unconcerned about that. Either we don't know, or we're unconcerned because in our own little corner, AI is helping us. So we are less aware, we are less concerned about that. But then temperature continues to rise. They keep telling us that one year in, year out since 2023 now, it's been reported that the temperature of the world keeps increasing. So that is one question I think should bother us. Yes, they are talking about green AI as a panacea to having a more sustainable AI and how AI is helping in other endeavors to make maybe businesses, entrepreneurship much easier or something. But can AI give what it doesn't have? When AI itself consumes so much energy, consumes so much water, consumes so much of the earth resources, how do you now all of a sudden be able to help other domains in the world to be sustainable? I think it's counterproductive, so to speak. So that's one question I think we are not asking enough, and we should be asking it enough. The other one is about implementation. There are tons of proposals on regulations and the likes. Can we begin to talk about implementation? Can we begin to hold people accountable? Should we continue business as usual? Yes, we have lots of regulations, proposals, and the likes, but many Gen AIs are still springing up, violating that. So when do we begin to actually hold people to task that you violate this rule, you violate this proposal? So it's also important beyond proposals. It's important to walk the talk now, beyond proposals, and let's begin to implement and apply sanctions and know that we are in this together and we can't just continue as if all there is the gain or the capitalism or the technopolitics of it. Yeah, those are the two main questions I think we are not asking it.
And those are vital to be aware of as we move forward and as we interact with it today. I am really interested in knowing what's next for you. Do you have any upcoming projects, any initiatives that you're excited about that you can share with us?
Yeah, I'm part of a group. We just submitted a proposal to Spencer Foundation on smart OER. That's open educational resource, how to make it smarter by putting some AI. I'm hoping that the proposal scales through and we're able to get the grants to conduct this research. In addition to that, I'm part of the initiative. I'm coordinating the initiative to train all our students on the ethical use of AI in their work. So it's a 4-week training program. And this is the 3rd week. It comes up every Saturday. And I'm excited at the impact we're making and looking forward to the last 2 weeks because we've done two weeks already. Yeah. Those are the two things exciting me aside my own personal research and hoping to do more papers and speak more at events, engagement, and the likes. Yeah. But those really are of great interest to me, and I look forward to their success.
We are grateful for you doing it because we really do need more female voices in this conversation. So thank you so much for sharing yours with us today.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you for tuning in to Empowered by AI. If today's episode sparked ideas, don't wait. Follow the link in the show notes to visit innovativeaistudio.com and download your free resource, created to help you put today's insights into practice. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes packed with more tips, tools, and inspiring stories. Until next time, stay empowered and keep innovating.